we got some news. Now, this was from a couple days ago. We got Cooper DeJean news from a few days ago regarding him full-time at the nickel spot at the start of training camp. We're going to talk about Isiah Rodgers. We're going to be talking about a safety that's still linked to the Eagles that Vic Fangio has connections with, that it's still going to happen. And we're going to be talking about a wide receiver trade that is probably not going to happen now, and I guess it makes sense. So let's get into the news.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. So we're going to be talking Philadelphia Eagles news as usual every single day as we do. But first I want to go over, we have a pre-order that's out already to bring it to your full attention. The Howie Roseman Big Pimpin' shirt is out, in quotes at the bottom. My pimp hand strong. Howie Roseman with the Howie Roseman gold medallion, the pimp suit, the jacket, the hat, the glasses. I just ordered a couple shirts myself. Comes in 3 colors. Link in the description. These are pre-orders for now. And definitely check them out. We're very happy with the design. Shout out to our artist, and looks fantastic. So I want to go over some news here. Now, this was from a few days ago that we heard this about Cooper DeJean, is that, he was on Kay Adams, and from what it sounds like, the Eagles are going to be they're going to start him out at the nickel corner position. Okay. I think it will be a big mistake for the Eagles to just keep him at one position, and when you can keep him at multiple positions this year. I mean, I think he's more valued at playing multiple positions than just having him, like I said, as a Malcolm Jenkins move around type piece. He was compared to the player. We know that he could play multiple positions well. Okay. And, to have a player like this, especially as a first round talent, a top 20 player in the draft, I mean, you cannot handicap him. I think the start of camp, I think they will stick him somewhere. First, it was outside corner. Then now it's nickel now. So that's like the new reports when he was on Kay Adams' show and kind of talked about it. All right. It kind of confused me a little bit because I felt like, was Isiah Rodgers, when they picked him up last year, when they picked up Isiah Rodgers, did they have him as a backup plan to be a starting corner for this year? Because they probably wouldn't have figured they were going to draft 2 DBs the way they did, the way the draft fell when a defensive player wasn't drafted until 14, 15. Was their plan with Isiah Rodgers was to him to come back and be the starting corner here because they weren't going to do the moves that they were going to make. So obviously after when the GMs and the owners met in Florida for the meetings and Jeffrey Lurie was asked a question about Isiah Rodgers, he said that they have big plans for him. Because if Cooper DeJean stays at nickel corner full time, just say that happens, and if Bradbury is supposedly still here at this point, I haven't seen no news on a post-June cut or anything like that. I guess I'm just looking at my watch 10 million times to figure out if it's going to happen. Is Isiah Rodgers just going to play special teams? And I'm sorry, but I think that's a big mistake. They have a starting caliber type player on this team. You have a starting corner. You have a guy that could start right now if you really want him to. Okay. And I think this would be a huge misstep for the Eagles to waste him away. I mean, seriously, at least if Bradbury was gone, this would be a little bit easier to where you can move DeJean or move Isiah Rodgers inside, outside, and you could do multiple of different things. Okay, but I think, like I said, you don't want to waste any talent on this defense if they could just do a little bit more. Okay, and I guess we'll find out what happens, but at the end of the day, I feel like they're going to throw DeJean somewhere at the start. I don't think they're going to put too much on him like the first couple days, but I feel like as the weeks progress, they will move him to other places. I can't believe they're just going to have him in one spot, and if they do, then maybe another move is going to happen. So if there is no plan to move Cooper DeJean to the safety spot, okay, at all, because you're down. You need another safety. Okay, as much as I like Reed Blankenship, he'll be a role player. Obviously, he's as a role player, he's fantastic. I think he'll be really good for this defense. You have him for one more year after this year, so he's on the roster. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is back. We keep forgetting, he's here. So you got that attitude. You got, you're going to have a lot of picks this year. You're going to have some ball hawks in the backfield if DeJean is there. But if DeJean definitely stays at nickel corner most of the season, or something happens like that, then I think Justin Simmons is on his way. It just makes sense, okay? The connection with Vic Fangio. He's 31 years old. I mean, 1-year deal, nothing spectacular. I think the Eagles, I don't know if the Eagles really want to draft a safety. But I felt like they went all in on DeJean because he was a top player on their board. I would say he was probably the third best player besides Troy Fontana, who I think they had a lot of interest in the first round. I think they had him obviously they had DeJean very high. So when they didn't draft a safety this year, or before the draft started, I said, look, if they don't draft their specific guy at safety, then I feel like if the Justin Simmons is still out there, they could pick him up. Okay. And Vic, trust me, this is another guy. Justin Simmons is leadership. He has a big voice. I mean, imagine Chauncey, Justin Simmons, DeJean, Devin White. I mean, all these guys have major leadership. I mean, your attitude, mentality-wise, like from the last 7 games of last season, and yes, I'm bringing it up because, you deteriorated. No sense of urgency. I mean, they gave up. They gave up. And obviously, players can only do so much when they're put into the same position, set up to fail every single game. So... And, at this point, I think realistically this could happen. Even if DeJean doesn't stay full-time at nickel, they could move him somewhere. I mean, they could do whatever they want with him. They can have him as an outside linebacker just to be in coverage, in some coverage packages. They could do a whole lot with him. Don't think they can't put DeJean as an outside linebacker or something and put him there just because of specific matchups. Because like I said, I think you're wasting Isiah Rodgers if you just make him a kick returner with a lot of competition there during training camp. I think you're going to waste away Cooper DeJean if you put him at one position. Will I be like that upset? No, but I feel like I feel like he could do a lot more. I think he's a lot smarter than everyone thinks. Okay, I feel like he can handle it. Vic Fangio talked about not only can you physically play, can your body handle playing different positions, but it's all about obviously, being successful. Executing every position the right way. I mean, I could get thrown to any position on the defense, but if I'm good at one position, I'm okay at another position, I'm not really great at the 3 other positions, then I'm kind of worthless, really. I'm really being set up to fail at the end of the day, and I can't comprehend or handle what they could put me in. So realistically, if they want to keep Cooper DeJean at nickel, and I understand the nickel position is interesting because you have Tyler Hall, you have Maddox coming back that I don't think they are giving him the job. I think Maddox could be a cut, especially if Maddox gets hurt, he's done. Okay, you have Zach McPherson coming off an Achilles injury, which is really bad. Obviously, at a younger age, it's guys coming off Achilles injuries at younger ages, could heal up a little faster than when you're at an old age. But there's really nothing there. And I think they look at it that way. They say, okay, we have James Bradbury on the outside. We have Isiah Rodgers. So, I think Isiah Rodgers is coming to play. But you have a guy at outside corner right now, James Bradbury, that's making $10.5 million this year. Okay, and he's only a $4 million cap hit, so a little bit over that. So he's really not expensive to keep on the roster. Extend his contract a couple years post-June and just split his dead money, $5.5 million, and just eat it up. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know why we haven't seen a release of Bradbury or rumors of him going anywhere. I just don't want to bench Quinyon Mitchell at this point. So that's another guy, and I keep forgetting. We're talking about DeJean right now. And you have a first round pick that's just going to sit on the bench. I don't know. It's the secondary and how they move guys around and who they want at certain spots is going to be really interesting. But like I said, I think DeJean needs to move to safety, and I think they just need to move DeJean around. That's perfectly fine. But keep him at safety if that's what you want to do. But Isiah Rodgers, play on the inside. I think there should be a nice little competition there at nickel corner and just do your thing there. You know what I mean? So, a lot of combinations of pieces where it's going to go. So I guess we'll find out when the time comes because, I think, like I said, they'll keep him somewhere for a while, and I think they'll start to move him once he feels comfortable, the terminology and everything else of what Vic Fangio's doing. This is a brand new coach, and there's a lot. This is a younger defense coming in this year, a very young defense coming in this year. You lose Fletcher Cox to your defense. You're bringing in a little bit of you're bringing in some veteran help at a few positions, and you got a lot of youth here, so a lot of competitions going around. So I'm very excited to see what they do with Dejawn. If this move at nickel corner is going to be the right move, Isiah Rodgers, I hope he wasn't just a backup plan last year, or at least like the cautious plan. So this way they would get Isiah Rodgers back this year, and if they were unable to draft a corner this year, he would be their starter. So I don't know how they look at Isiah Rodgers. Do they actually want him to compete? Is Bradbury going to be if Bradbury was gone, this would be very easy. But because he's here, it makes it a lot harder because you have Isiah Rodgers and you have Quinyon Mitchell on top of moving DeJean all over the place. So it's a whole lot of stuff to digest. But we just have to give it time and just see what it looks like when we hit camp, mini camp, and stuff like that. So we will see. Now, the last thing I want to go over is there was rumors maybe a week, maybe 4 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago on this John Mechie trade or something. Okay. A lot of rumors going around. John Mechie is really the odd man out in Houston right now. I don't know if he had an injury last year. Obviously, came over a crazy sickness and leukemia and has, is on remission for that, which is fantastic for him. But at this point, I don't know why there's a name swirling. Why would they trade for a wide receiver? I mean, to be honest with you, I feel very comfortable in what we have right now in Paris Campbell, and even having a 31-year-old receiver in Devontae Parker that, has that veteran guy coming in. But because you have now Johnny Wilson, and now with Ainias Smith, and I think Ainias Smith is so underrated. I think Ainias Smith is going to surprise a lot of Eagle fans of what he could do. He's going to be a top steal for the Eagles, and he'll be a wide receiver 3 here, and I think he's going to start. I think Ainias Smith, I don't think there's any question. I don't think, I knew they were going to go after a receiver, but I didn't think they were going to go after 2 receivers. But at least as of right now, I feel pretty comfortable. If it was just Paris Campbell and Britton Covey and Devontae Parker, I wasn't comfortable with that. They had to add somebody else. They needed more youth, and they drafted somebody in the mid-round. So I don't think a trade and wasting a draft pick and, on John Mechie, I don't think he would cost much. I mean, what are they going to want for him? So I think we're out of that avenue. I don't think any of that's going to happen. We'll see in the future about all of that. And that's pretty much it. I mean, the defense is what I'm really harping on in the coming weeks. I mean, offense is very important, but this defense, though, this defense has got to get better. Both sides have to get better, but defensively, especially since you drafted your more important players on the defensive side of the ball, because your corner future at cornerback and all that stuff, I think, is really important going forward, because your cornerback position in 25 next year is going to look completely different. Okay. So, we'll see what happens, but we got to play the waiting game just a little bit. And that's pretty much about it, guys. So if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Like the video. It does help the channel tremendously. Thank you for all the support. If you guys haven't checked out the Philly Shakedown podcast merch and the new Big Pimpin' Howie Roseman t-shirt, definitely check it out. Pre-orders are available right now. And if you want to look at the other shirts, the store link will be at the bottom in the description as well. So you guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you guys on the next one. Shakes, what up, follow, slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.